there's this new polling. Obviously, it's Nate Cohn, so I don't know. I don't trust any pollster named Nate anymore after 2016. But hey,
Yeah, really, yeah.
But Trump leads in 5 key states as young and non-white voters express discontent with Biden. This is according to his Times Sienna poll, including one with the Philadelphia Inquirer, reveal an erosion of support for the president among young and non-white voters upset about the economy and Gaza. And so here you have Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada, and Trump is leading pretty much in every single one of them. I mean, there is a margin of error, right? But it is way too close in these key states. And you think about a state like Michigan, I mean, 49% to Trump at this point, 42 to Biden. And you think about the Arab American vote and you're like, I think we could fix your problem, my dude, real quick if you just
Yeah.
fucking listen, and not only listen, but act. But yeah, I mean, it's terrifying. So, well, the race was closer among likely voters. So Mr. Trump led in 5 states as well, but Biden edged ahead in Michigan while trailing only narrowly in Wisconsin. Edged ahead in Michigan. In likely voters. Excuse me. I was reading potential voters. Well, Mr. Biden won all 6 of those states in 2020. Victories in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin would be enough for him to win re-election, provided he won everywhere else he did 4 years ago. This is someone who apparently thinks that Donald Trump is rightfully a threat to democracy and one of the most important elections of our lifetime. And he's got to do better than he did, as good as he did, or like basically as good as he did in 2020, which I think is incredibly dubious. But Kate, to your point about not listening to voters here.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like you kind of see them doing the sort of like preemptive vote shaming, like especially towards like like Muslims and Arab Americans and stuff, and kind of like blaming young people preemptively. Like part of me feels like they know they're gonna lose and are just doing this sort of like blaming of people in advance a little bit. They're trying to. One thing that I thought was interesting is, there's been like this real effort to portray the student protesters as like very fringe and radical and like just like totally out of step with popular opinion. But then if you look at the actual polls, like more than 83% of Democrats support ceasefire at this point. So it's huge. Like I don't know what this guy's doing.
Right, and 56 or 57% say it's a genocide. I mean, you saying it's like that's not a fringe opinion. 57% is not a fringe opinion. And the the best part about blaming young people is they're always blamed for like being apathetic and like staying home, or why didn't you take this seriously? And it's like, look at how active they are. Would you call any of these students in any world apathetic? I don't think so. They clearly care about these issues.
Yeah, and like back to kind of what you were saying, like I think that like Michigan, according to their own data, is like a must-win state for them. And if you look at like 2020, as you were saying, like Muslims and Arab American voters were critical to his victory.
Yep.
Young people coming out, in super high turnout all over the nation in 2020 were so important to push him over the finish line. And it was a narrow victory. And it's like, how is that going to be replicated? I guess they're just hoping that Donald Trump voters will stay home, but I don't know.
I think so, and I think that they're hoping they can, which I particularly bristle at, but in a way pit abortion rights against Palestinian human rights, right? And Arab American and Muslim rights. I mean, we sort of forget that a 6-year-old was murdered by his neighbor because he was Palestinian. Like, and again, we don't have to guess if that kid was, not Muslim, not Palestinian, that we'd be thinking, saying a prayer for him nationally every single week, but it is terrifying. And, but I don't know. He stopped 2,000-pound bombs from being sent. So this was the big news this week, right? Like, and okay, is it the beginning? And remember, this broke like a week ago exactly. And then it was like, all right, is this the beginning of not selling more weapons? Like, oh, no, we're going to keep sending them other bombs. And they have all the munitions they need to, like, bomb Rafah as they're doing now. We're
Yeah.
just like, what is that? We're just going to save face internally, or like deep in the night when I'm visited by three spirits who tell me not to do genocide?
Ken Klippenstein had a newsletter post yesterday where he was talking about how, like, based on like the stage of the invasion and military strategy, like 2,000-pound bombs were not even necessarily like what they were going to use anyway, and so it's just completely theatrical.
Right. But now they want to. But now Israel's like, how dare you? Biden is Hamas. I was using that like a child.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that they want to get Trump elected, like Netanyahu and his cabinet. So it's like, even if they don't need, these particular need, I feel like disgusting saying that just from their perspective.
Yeah.
Like, it's in their interest to like pile on Biden and make people not like him.
This is what's really upsetting to me as someone who's like, and I'm sure you've heard like a lot of liberal Zionists, like mad at me for, talking about occupation and whatnot, is like, and the same people who chide the student demonstrators, which is, you're just going to get Trump reelected. You're just going to get Trump reelected. Meanwhile, AIPAC literally wants to get Trump reelected.
Yeah,
and
literally
is trying desperately to make sure that like Congress flips, or Congress stays red and the Senate can flip, and all, like, they are pouring tons of money into like defeating Democrats. And yes, some places they're defeating them with more centrist Democrats, and other places they're trying to defeat them with Republicans. But AIPAC and the Israeli lobby and those who defend it will never be accused somehow of like, wanting Trump back in office, even though that's exactly what they want and are doing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, it's weird to me that, let's say the last poll on this is so correct, and there's 83% of Democrats that want ceasefire, and there's 17% of Democrats that do not. Why are the 17% that's encouraging Biden to arm and fund this genocide, why are they not the voters that are like to blame? I don't really agree with blaming voters in general, but
right,
if we were gonna pick a set to like be mad at, how about the people that are encouraging Biden to take policy that is like extremely unpopular? And it's also like, in addition to being unpopular, like it totally overshadows all the news coverage about everything positive that that he has done, or even about like Florida's abortion ban, or just like all these other things that could potentially help him, like every
well, that's
day.
what's so ironic, because
Yeah.
it's like, if there are some good things, we have David Dayen on of the American Prospect from time to time, and he keeps reminding, and I really appreciate that, an administration is not one guy.
Yeah.
As much as like the consolidation of executive power is a problem, blah, 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 it is it's a group. It is an amalgamation. It is many, many people. It is Lena Khan of the FTC. It's, other people whose names I don't know, and other departments that are important, like the NLRB, and the leader of whom I can't remember. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it is a bunch of other policies. It is, the Department of Ed. I mean, we had Justin Habash on, who resigned. He's Palestinian, who resigned because of the policies in Gaza, but who was very proud of some of the, debt cancellation that they did. All of that is being overshadowed by this genocide. And so you got literally, this is a two birds, one stone problem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
two birds, one ceasefire. No, and that stone is a Palestinian stone being thrown at an IDF tank. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.